So UFC Fight Night Saudi Arabia was wrapped up this weekend, and I'm here to give my take on the fights. Obviously only the and main event, because that's all we care about. Do you know what I mean? Let's be honest about this. Do you know what I mean? So let's start with Shara versus MVP. MVP did his thing, man. He did exactly what I thought he would do. He showed his experience in there, and he just completely baffled Shara on the feet. Shara, he is used to throwing loads of stuff. Do you know what I mean? He's usually throwing non-stop, firing off all cylinders, you know. But MVP just stopped that, because with that weird jumping side on karate style, he just seems to immobilize people in there, and they just can't seem to get a leg off or a foot in or whatever you want to call it. Like, he just stops you. He just nullifies everything that you bring to the table. Even Ian Gary, like I said in my prediction video, even Ian Gary turned into a wrestler pretty quick, or a grappler, let's say. He turned into a grappler pretty quick, you know. So that's what he does to people. And Ian Gary, his striking is top tier. So, you know, you got to realise how, I don't even want to say skillful, because MVP's skill is such in a lane of its own. Like, it's weird to call it skillful. It's just awkwardness, which is a skill. I get it. I really feel like Shara should have adjusted. He should have shot him for a takedown. I mean, I know that they had this whole, let's fight on the feet, but it's MMA, mate, and your undefeated record's on the line. If it was me, I would have shot for a takedown. I would have tried my absolute best. You know, you've been training, I'm assuming you've been training wrestling, obviously, as an MMA athlete, so use it. You know, don't just stand on the feet when you had no answers. You got off a few low kicks here and there, and that's about it. Other than that, MVP was just slightly landing more than you every single round, and he beat you. Everyone was screaming like, "Oh, it's a boring fight," and that. But it's weird, because MVP's fights are so boring, it's so exciting at the same time, you know. So I really like MVP. I think it's interesting, and I'm kind of waiting for some explosive knockout. Even though we haven't seen it yet, I'm kind of waiting for that to happen, and I can't wait till it does, because I do believe it will. And I just find it interesting when he gets in there with high-level strikers. They just don't know what to do. I mean, they're just completely baffled. He's jumping up and down. He's side on. Yeah, he did his thing though. I guessed that right. And I just knew that MVP was going to show levels in there. He's got too much knowledge for someone like Shara, who's an up-and-comer, to come and beat him on the feet, especially because Shara didn't want to mix in the takedowns. You know, if he mixed in takedowns, maybe it'd be completely different, but he didn't. Really great win by MVP. You know, he done what he needed to do. What's next for MVP? I think he should fight Leon Edwards. I really want to see that fight. It'll be cool because he'll be in the O2, I'm assuming, as they're both from England, and I'd like to see that. You know, who is the best English welterweight in the UFC? I don't know, some sort of storyline like that. I think it'd be interesting. I'd like to see as well what MVP can do with Leon, because Leon's a better striker than those names I just mentioned, and I still think MVP confuses him, so I'm interested to see how that one goes. So I think MVP, great win, excellent fight, did exactly what you needed to do, but I'd like to see him fight Leon Edwards next. Moving on to the main event. Now, this one really hurt. I'm not the biggest fan of Izzy, but I'd like him to be here still. You know, he brought some excitement to the division. I thought his fighting's awesome, you know. I think he's a really good fighter. He's the top of the top when it comes to striking, and it's a shame because now he's on a 3-fight losing streak, which is funny because he got decisioned, subbed, and then KO'd. So it's like he's gone around collecting all the all the defeats you can collect. I just think that Izzy looked really good in this fight, and after the first round, I was like, this is it. I'm just waiting for the knockout. He's gonna knock this guy out. He's gonna knock Imavov out. Like, it's gonna happen. He was doing everything he needed to do. He was chewing up the legs. He was busting up his face. Like, doing everything he needed to do. But he got caught, man. And he didn't just get caught though. He got caught just after switching stances, which was something that was really annoying me. Because when I was watching this live, he switches stances with his hands, like he's pushing away his opponent. He does this all the time. He's pushing away Imavov, and as he pushes him away, he kind of changes to the next. Do you know what I mean? He changes from southpaw to orthodox, and I really didn't like the way he was doing it. He was doing it basically in the void, and I was thinking, you're gonna get chinned in a minute. Like, you've got to stop doing that. Like, you're firing something, pushing off Imavov, and then changing stances. And even I was reading it, and I'm not a professional fighter, do you know what I mean? And I was reading that, I was thinking, you're doing this in dangerous spots, you know, you're not quite far away where you can do it. You were doing it like right next to him, like right face to face, basically, real close. And I was thinking, oh, like all he's got to do as you're turning is throw a right over as you turn to southpaw, and then boom, it's all she wrote. People are saying that Nasruddin now deserves a title shot after knocking out Israel Adesanya, which I kind of get when I say it out loud like that. I get it, but you got to remember, Israel is on a 3-fight losing streak. 2 of them coming by finish now. I do get it, because I don't think Izzy's done. Judging on that first round, I don't think Izzy is actually finished. But he's on a 3-fight losing streak now, man. So, you know, for him, he shouldn't even be in top 10, in my opinion. Like, he got 5-0'd in terms of rounds by Strickland. He then got submitted by DDP, and he's now just been KO'd. Who does he fight next? I don't know. I mean, if Alex Pereira loses to Ankalaev, then you could match them up at 205 or something. That would be pretty dope. But I just think Alex knocks him out, to be honest, especially at 205. If he beat him at 185, then he's gonna knock him out at 205. When I saw Izzy come out in the first round, like, he looked a lot bulkier. That's not a good sign for me, because if he's changing stuff, you know, and I feel like that's kind of like a paranoia, kind of like, oh, maybe if I do this, this will work. And it's like, no, you were doing what you should do, but you just come up short. You should carry on doing what you have always done. Just build on it, but don't change your frame and all this stuff. I don't really like that shit, because at the end of the day, mate, is it shows weaknesses. It shows that you feel like there's gaps in your game. You're like, oh, if I put on a bit more muscle here, maybe it will help me. And I think that's when you start doubting yourself like that. I just think that you're psychologically over at that point. I just feel like your career is done at that point. Not done, but like you're already in a mentally bad place. You're already fighting against resistance, so you need the least resistance as possible when you are a fighter. As I was editing, I realised that my phone died. So here's the outro quickly. I have no idea what's in store for Izzy next. I'm thinking 205 Alex Pereira if Alex Pereira loses, or the Sean Strickland rematch. Great win by Nasruddin. Can't wait to see who they put him against. But I hope you enjoyed the video anyway, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.